Hi folks, we're Travel with Johnny and Will, and we are currently on board Royal Caribbean's Anthem of the Seas. This is our 20th cruise and our first time cruising with Royal Caribbean. So, this basically is where we're going to chat about what we did yesterday, which was day 3, when we visited the port of La Rochelle in France.
So we made our way up to the Solarium Bistro, and if you don't know, the Solarium is an area of the ship with sun loungers, pools, hot tubs at the front of the ship, wraparound glass, and within this area there is a bar and there's also a eating area where we decided to have our breakfast. It's the Solarium Bistro.
And the solarium, folks, is actually the adults only section. So we haven't experienced it yet in terms of what it's like to check out the pools and things, but we hope to get that done this week whilst on board.
Yeah, so in terms of selection, the things that I saw up there was fruit, there was a hot selection, there was waffles, pancakes, French toast, there was salmon, cereal, yogurts and fruit, a continental selection, cold meats, and then other prepared fruit. And then in addition, there was your tea, coffee, orange juice, iced tea.
Yeah. It was sort of basically like everything you would find in the Windjammer, which is the main buffet, but sort of condensed down into sort of like one little section. But again, as it was in the solarium, it was adults only, so we found it to be quite a chilled environment for breakfast.
Yeah, definitely much more relaxed and easier to get a table. And yes, no kids running about. And actually, I didn't even notice that, but it was just so calm. Yeah, definitely lovely little area to go and get breakfast if you're an adult and you're wanting somewhere a little less chaotic than the Windjammer.
Yeah, I started off with some cereal, and then I had a bit of a cook selection. And the thing about the cook selection is the area that they have it sitting on, it's all sitting on like hot plates, like they're being kept warm, and I mean the food was hot yesterday, and it seemed to be sort of replenished quite often as well, so it was quite fresh.
Yeah, I just had my usual cereal and fruit.
So after breakfast then we decided to grab a cup of tea and coffee and that whilst up in the bistro, and then we headed down to our room to do some filming and to get ready to head ashore. Basically, as we were docked slightly outside the main town of La Rochelle, Royal Caribbean had kindly laid on a free shuttle bus, which basically took us then into the main town centre. This was free, and yesterday you were able to collect your tickets between a certain time where they were giving you time slots in that you could disembark the ship, because it is quite an industrial port. We didn't make it down during that time, so what we decided to do was we went down before we went for breakfast this morning, but for us it meant then that we were limited, that we had to leave then at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, yeah.
But it was no bad thing, I don't think, because the weather wasn't supposed to be great that morning, and Captain had says that the better weather would come in the afternoon. So
yeah, so basically on the cruise compass on our sea day, which had been day 2, you were meant to go and visit the music hall and get your shuttle tickets. We didn't do that until yesterday, which had been day 3, and therefore we were left with the times that were later. But I mean, it was fine. We just worked around that and it all worked out. So the shuttle itself only took around 20 minutes to get into La Rochelle, and it dropped off quite centrally at the Place de Verdun. I think I'm saying that right.
yeah, it's sort of just like a square area, and the thing was, because it was laid on by Royal Caribbean, there was Royal Caribbean staff basically at the drop-off and pick-up point. So provided that you could make your way back to that square, you would know where you were because you would see the Royal Caribbean staff.
Yeah. Just a note on La Rochelle, if you don't get a shuttle in, there's no way of really walking in. Like, the bus takes a while to get out of the port. It's very industrial, so I don't think there's really an option to do that on your own.
Yeah, I don't think they're even letting people off on their own, because
everybody was going to the buses which were provided.
Yeah.
So we just literally started walking. at the corner of one of the squares toward the marina. We didn't really know it at the time. We were walking past little bakeries, and these buildings were not looking very plumb to me. As an engineer, I was like, some of the columns were like this, and then they were going like this, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So nice little old historic town, and then when we got to the little port, we decided to find somewhere to eat.
Yeah, it was lunchtime and we had arrived at the viewport, and there's, again, it's a beautiful area. Like, you could have spent hours sort of just walking around that marina area, and there's a little like castle part, and we sort of, because we didn't really have any plans made, and sometimes whenever we go to a stop for the first time, we either make sure that we've researched it, book something, whether it be on board or ourselves, and go and explore. Or sometimes we just get off and have a mitch around, and then whenever we find little places, we're kind of like, whenever we come back here, this is where we're going to go and check out, or that's what we're going to do this time, next time. So as Will said, we stopped at this little place for lunch. And obviously,
it was called the Jolly Sailor.
It was, and do you want to know something, folks? It was actually like a British pub, even though the staff were French. It was like a British pub, and and you could really just sort of spot the Brits sitting there. But everywhere else we looked at, the menus, obviously they had like a lot of French cuisine on it, and we were a bit dubious.
Seafood.
A lot of seafood and things like that, because obviously it was down in the marina, and we were kind of like, we'll play it safe here, and just go to the ye old English pub, and we did. We had like little tapas, so there was like onion rings, little chicken tenders, little camembert bites and things like that, and sweet potato fries. So we just got this little selection and just munched away. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was really good just sitting there, and then we were sort of eavesdropping a little bit.
I know.
We were listening to, when some people talk and they talk quite loudly and you can't help but hear?
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting to hear the opinions of other cruise passengers and how they thought Royal Caribbean compared to other lines, and it was interesting comments they were making.
Yeah, it's like, whenever you hear like comedians talking about like these, jokes about, like cruisers, about like, how, they looked, a cruiser complained that every time she looked out her window, all she could see was the sea and water, things like that. It was sort of nearly like that, where a lot of people, there were like complaints like, yeah, we would never cruise Royal Caribbean again. We're at the front of the ship, and everywhere to eat is the back of the ship. And then if you want to go to the theatre, you have to go the whole way to the front of the ship. And we were kind of just thinking, that's like every ship we've been on.
That's ever existed, really.
Where all the eateries and main dining rooms have always traditionally been at the back of the ship. The theatre's always at the front of the ship. And yes, there is toing and froing back and forward from one end of the ship to the other. But you know how you rectify that? You pay for your cabin in the middle of the ship. And that means you've only halfway to go to the dining.
Or you get on a ship that's not as big as a Royal Caribbean ship or a big ship.
Yeah, and they were comparing Royal Caribbean with other cruise lines like Marella that hold like 1,800 passengers.
Yeah, so
like it's
ship.
You can't compare the two. I'm sorry. But anyway, that was entertaining for us. And then after we had our lunch, we then just decided to head on for another wee dander, taking us back sort of along the original route we took.
Yeah.
And we couldn't bypass this little bakery.
Yeah, so we had spotted this bakery on our walk out to the little harbour marina thing, and we thought, we need to go in here, and we queued for quite a bit. The girls seemed to be getting very confused with all the different accents. There was Chinese, there was American, there was English, so there was a lot of accents going on.
I think the what kept the whole queue up was someone speaking bad French when they speak English, to someone that is French and doesn't really speak English. It just was a terrible combination. I think if the person had just spoken English, the lady probably would have understood better, because we couldn't speak French, but the lady understood us by,
But I mean, stuff was labelled, and you could have had a go at saying it.
Or just pointing.
Yeah, it was fine. So we got 3 macaroons each, and oh my gosh, they were all eaten within like 2 seconds, because the first one was really nice, and then I was like, no, we need to eat the other one.
Yeah.
They were so good. They were amazing.
Oh.
The nicest.
You had like a pistachio one. I had
vanilla
like,
one.
I had an orange one, and you had a banana one too.
The banana one was like, do you know the little foam bananas? You get the candy bananas, like the false banana flavour. It was really good.
I had a yummy caramel one too, which was nice. But it's so nice, and yeah. We'll actually put the shop on screen so that if you're ever in La Rochelle, just make sure you go and check it out.
Sorry for shaking a little. We're just pulling away from port here, so yeah.
Thrusters are going. Or a go-go. So we made our way then back to the pickup point for the bus. We didn't really have long to wait, actually.
It was a very short wait, but the buses were coming and coming. To be honest, the girl who was putting people on the buses was annoying me. She was slowing it up. She kept going on. Oh, we have 2 spaces, we have 1 space. Just let the bus go and get more people going. You know, if more people are getting on and the buses are moving, that's more people getting on the buses.
She ran a very orderly queue, I must say. She ran a very orderly queue, but I didn't mind that actually.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is too, that when buses normally open, and they have a front door and a middle door. It's like somebody just shouts "pile on," and everybody jumps on. So then you've got some poor critters that maybe can't just jump in front of other people, and so.
And she did pull that guy in the wheelchair up to the front, which is great because. You know, why should they be waiting when...
No, I do. I think she did run a very good queue. I know what you're saying about it did slow things down, but yeah, I think it was fair then. Everybody had to wait their turn. So, after we got back to the ship, we decided just to chill for a little bit, and then we decided then tonight just to go to the Windjammer for our dinner. Like, we're not really a fan of buffet restaurants for meals, but we always try and get to a buffet whenever we're on a cruise just so we can share our experience. Now, I have to say, as much it was really, really busy, and obviously we had to walk about a bit to find a seat, the Windjammer, I think, has probably...
It's a very, very good selection.
It's definitely, I would say, probably one of the best. I would say it's the best buffet restaurant I've been on a ship.
Possibly because it's an American line. It's feeding the English as an English-speaking countries, and that sort of maybe is more our style of food or something.
Maybe, but there was just so much different sort of selections. There was a pasta station.
Yeah, I had like pasta from the pasta station.
Yeah, if you wanted like a roast beef dinner or a roast dinner, or like I went and had like grilled chicken, and you know, it was just there was just so much to pick from. And you know, obviously, the other thing that I really like about the Windjammer, and I'm saying this again because I can't remember if I said it in the last video, but I'm going to say it again, is that on the way in to the Windjammer, they have it cordoned off, one way in and then obviously one way out, and obviously the wishy-washy or whatever they're called people are standing there, and they had the music pumping and they were like singing and dancing, and they're asking, you know, they were sort of washy-washy, you know, go and wash your hands. And I just love the fact that you have to walk around past the sinks to get into that restaurant, because even though some people still may not do it, you're increasing the chances that some people will do it. I sort of really prefer that now, because other cruise ships we've been on recently, people are standing there at the doors, there's sinks there not being used, they're standing there with a little squirt gun to give you a bit of sanitizer, and people just walk past them. Now if you're standing getting sanitizer, other people are just going straight past. And I think it's so important, because obviously at the time of recording this video, there's been a couple of ships recently that have been in the press about norovirus and things like that, and outbreaks, you know, whenever they've been on board and having to miss ports because of it, and it's like delaying people's embarkation and, you know, on the next cruise because of deep cleaning. Like for the 30 seconds it takes, just wash your hands, do you know what I mean? But I love that about the Windjammer, so I have to just say that. But yeah, I can't even remember what I had to start. I think I had a salad to start with. Yeah.
Oh, you had a salad, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I made myself up a little salad, and then I had some. I had a baked potato actually, and some grilled chicken, and roasted vegetables, and they were very nice.
Yeah, so I had that aliola pasta in the cheese wheel, and just some fruit. So that was us straight to the Royal Theatre for, I think it was the 7:30 showing of
Yes.
We Will Rock You. The Royal Theatre is, you need to help me. The Royal Theatre is on deck 4 and 5 at the front of the ship. And a thing to note is there is waiter service for drinks in the Royal Theatre provided, which is quite rare, we think.
Yeah, and I was sort of glad that once the show started, the waiters weren't continuing to go about, because I sort of thought that would have been annoying. But, yes, so We Will Rock You. We'd seen on Facebook a lot of people complaining because it had sort of changed on the app, about the days that it was on, the times it was on. However, whenever we arrived on day one, there was a sheet of paper that told us everything that was on in the theatre this week. And that seemed to be what all the announcements were that Katie, the cruise director, was making about. And it all seemed to be tying in with the sheet of paper. So we made sure that we went, because even though it said on the app that it was
It had been on 2 times during the sea day, which would have been our day 2, and this was our day 3. So we caught it on day 3.
Yeah.
And we were glad we did.
We were so glad. So it's literally the full production show without a break. And my goodness, the cast are so talented.
Yeah.
I've never seen the show before. Neither had Will.
No.
Will thought he was going to see Rock of Ages.
That's what I thought it was.
But then again, if anybody watches our other vlogs, you'll know that he got confused between Ghost and Dirty Dancing whenever we went to London. And that nearly resulted in me punching him in the face. But yeah, We Will Rock You. Wow.
It was a really, really good show.
It really was.
I'll insert some footage here. Let us know what you think of the cast and their performance.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Internet high. Last night somebody tell
So after We Will Rock You, we just went to the music hall, as it's sort of the next door venue, depending on what deck you come out of. Probably both decks, actually. Deck 4 we come out at, and I think we were at the lower level. Isn't that right?
Yeah, the music hall's deck 3 and 4.
Oh, it's 3 and 4. Okay. So, yeah, and we sat there. There was a band playing, and it was just a nice chill time to end our evening, really.
Yeah, we quite liked the music hall, and again we got our seats at the bar, which was amazing. So we just had a couple of drinks there, and then after listening to the band for a while, we decided to call it a night. So we needed to go for late night snacks. So yeah, as we had before, we headed to Sorrento's, which is like the onboard pizzeria, but beside it there's a little cafe that if you wanted like a filled roll or something, or like
or a cookie, or
a cup of tea or desserts, they're all next door to Sorrento's. And we just had a couple of slices of pizza, got some soda, and then headed back to our cabins.
If you've enjoyed this vlog of our day 3 on board Anthem of the Seas, please give us a thumbs up down below. Don't forget to click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our next video in this series. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.